Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to my review of this 20-inch soundbar by Diplay. Now, first of all, a full disclaimer, I was sent this free of charge by Diplay to do a full review on my channel for you. It does not affect the way that I review this product, it's fully independent, and what you see is what you get with my reviews. Looking at the packaging for this device, it's just a stout cardboard box to protect the soundbar on transit. You can see from the graphics on the front, it says it's a 2.0 channel soundbar, which means it's just a stereo soundbar. It doesn't have the sophistication of something like 5.1 or 7.1 surround sound, so there's no export to a external speaker such as a subwoofer or any front and back speakers. It's just a stereo front-facing soundbar. Now, it does say on here that it's a Bluetooth soundbar. Now, first of all, you wouldn't want to connect this to your television over Bluetooth. There's something like a half a second latency in that system and you'd have lip sync problems. So it would be a Bluetooth soundbar if you're using it with your phone or any other Bluetooth device where you want to have an audio output. Now, normally you'll be connecting this either by HDMI, which is ARC compliant, so it will be controlled from the remote of your television system, or you'll be using the optical connection from the television to the soundbar. Either one of those systems will provide adequate audio output from the device, no difference between HDMI and the optical. It will have a 3.5mm input socket which is used as the auxiliary line in either from your phone or any other audio device which has that 3.5-inch connection. Now, this device also supports a micro SD card, so you could load audio files onto there and play them through this sound system. And in conjunction with that, there's also a USB-A port, which again you can plug in there a USB stick or a USB hard drive with external power and be able to play unlimited numbers of sound files from those devices. But mainly you'll be using optical input or HDMI input. So let's unbox this and see what you get for your asking price here in the UK of £60. So you can see here now the package contents. We have the user guide, we have this mini remote controller which allows you to optically control the soundbar from a distance of up to say 3 meters. It's infrared, so line of sight. We've got the 3.5 to RCA connector, so in case you want to connect this to older devices that only have the red and white audio output. We've got the 3.5 to 3.5 auxiliary cable. One has got a right angle plug and one's got a straight, depending on the connectivity you want. We've got the Toshlink or the optical connecting cable, and we've got the HDMI cable that's supplied with the unit, and then the country specific power adapter for the device, and of course the device itself. So let's have a look at this in a little bit more detail. So this is the soundbar unboxed, and I must say it looks very attractive in the piano black plastic case. It's got a metal grille on the front with a decal of Diplay on the front, and if I just tilt this you can get a hint as to the internal construction, where we've got a small speaker here, we've got a tweeter with the looks of it here. Again, on the other side we've got the other speaker, so I guess these are the main speakers for the left and right channel, and I guess we've just got one tweeter for a commonality between both channels. And over this side we can see the window which has got the LED to enunciate the mode that you're in, and also the IR detector to switch over. If you look at the top of the unit you can see that nice lustrous black finish. It is a very highly polished finish, and obviously going to be a fingerprint magnet, and it will show dust as dust settles on the unit, so a very nice attractive cover. What I like to see is the fit between any of the side panels, and this is extremely good. This metal grille fits inside the plastic case, absolutely no space whatsoever, really nicely finished off, no sharp edges, and even the outside edges are perfect. There is no indication that there's any roughness here. It is really a nice finish. So on the right hand side of the unit we've got 4 push buttons. One is the power button, then we've got the mode change, and then we've got the plus and minus volume controls on the side. Quite a nice tactile feel, and they're easily located on the side, so we've got a nice tactile feel for the movement of those buttons. Having a look at the input compartment of this device, you can see here on the top right we've got a USB-A input. That allows you to use things like USB sticks with your audio files on, or you could probably use a USB hard drive which is externally powered with all your audio tracks on it. Next to that we've got the 3.5 audio input socket, and that allows you to use a 3.5mm audio input from your phone or MP3 player or any other device which has a line output 3.5mm socket. Next to that we've got our optical input socket, which is for the optical fiber cable. Trapdoor on there allows it to close and stop the ingress of dust when you're not using the device. We've got our DC input port there for our 18V input from our country specific adapter. Bottom left hand side you can see the slot for the micro SD card, and over on the right hand side here you can see the HDMI socket. Probably see how close the socket is to the outside wall, which prevents you from putting larger cables in there, and even the one they supply you with does interfere with the side, and it's quite hard to get that in there and puts quite a bit of strain on this socket. On the back of the unit you can see we've got two wall mounting fixtures, the standard type where you'll screw a screw into the wall and leave the head slightly forward and then just slip this unit over the slots. Again, foam rubber on there to prevent damage to your wall or other fixture, and it will stop it vibrating and moving around again. And again, that nice black finish is continued all the way around. Again, on the base of the unit we've got some rubber feet which will prevent damage to the base of the unit and provide some audio separation from the unit as well, so it won't vibrate and move around. And again, in that nice black piano finish, again a magnet for fingerprints. You need to just wipe that with a microfiber cloth to remove those fingerprints. So these black shiny cases, same with phones, are fingerprint magnets, so be aware of that. And back to the front case. So you can see I've got the soundbar set up here, and for an audio input I've got a USB pen drive plugged into the USB-A port. On that pen drive I've got some royalty free music, so we can actually listen to this without striking any copyright restrictions. I want to play you just a sample of sound from this device compared to the standard speakers which are in my iMac 27-inch, and you can see the difference between the iMac speakers and this soundbar. So let me play you those clips and you can see the difference between this soundbar and the 27-inch iMac. On the front of the unit you can see the annunciator LED light here, which is signaling that we're using the USB port. If I put the unit in standby, you'll notice we've got a red light, and that stays on all the time that the unit is in standby. Now you could argue for visually impaired people that this is a good feature. Along with the audio warning, if you are visually impaired you probably appreciate that, but for the rest of us I find that a bit obtrusive. Let me turn it on and you'll see what I mean.
USB.
You always get an annunciation of the mode that you're in, And if I switch modes, if I go over to HDMI,
please insert HDMI.
It always tells you to insert HDMI if you've not got it in. If I go to line input,
line in,
you can see the color of the LED changes to tell you which mode you're in. If I go to Bluetooth, it will go to a blue LED light will flash, waiting for pairing. Now pairing is very easy with this. You just select the name of the device in your Bluetooth list and connect to that device very simply. If you're using the small SD card in there, the micro SD card,
no SD card,
switch to the TF and you get that magenta light going up. Optical input,
optical fiber,
would connect to your TV over optical fiber, and then the HDMI would
please insert HDMI.
HDMI input would give you the ARC connected signal from your HDMI. On the little device here, which is the remote controller, an array of buttons which give you the on off, mute, and then the functionality of Bluetooth, SD card, optical fiber, the HDMI, USB and line in, volume plus and volume minus, and then the EQ mode. And the EQ mode will allow you to set one of 4 EQ modes. Now if you do look at the Amazon listing, there is a discrepancy in the listing. One says 3, one says 4, but the device actually has 4 modes. Additionally, if you're using the micro SD card or the USB input, you can skip the track or go to the beginning of a track or the end of a track or pause it using the 3 buttons across the bottom of it. The buttons on here are not very tactile. If I go to the power off switch, there's little to tell you that you've actually pressed the button. There's not much of a tactile feel, more like a spongy feel. As with all these cheap remote control infrared units, they seem to be made to the same pattern. They're just little domes of metal inside there which act as spring contacts, so they don't really give you much of a tactile feedback as to whether you've actually made contact. And unless you're actually in line of sight to this receiver, then you won't notice it changing. So we've seen some of the functionality and the tests of this product, but who exactly is the target audience for it? I guess it's going to be a rather niche market. It's for the visually impaired or those with hard of hearing, because the visual prompts to tell you what mode you're in, plus the audible prompts for the hard of hearing, will be a great asset to them. But for normal users, I think they are an irritation. The bright light is quite a distraction, and certainly when you power this on or you change modes, that audible prompt is a little bit too loud and is unnecessary in my opinion. Once you know what mode you're in, you're going to leave it in that mode, but once you turn it off and turn it back on again, you'll get this grating noise, which is the audible prompt to tell you what mode you're in. I think that's totally unnecessary for normal users. The other features I don't like about this product, apart from that bright light and distraction of audio, is the configuration of the inputs. If this is wall mounted, it does limit you to either the optical cable or the HDMI cable, as you won't be able to put in there a micro SD card or insert a USB stick, so that would limit this to being desk mounted so you can gain access to the back compartment. And also with the placement of that HDMI input socket, with the normal size of HDMI cables for modern televisions, they tend to be quite large because of the cable diameters, but this will preclude them from using those because you can't fit them physically into that socket. The cable size and the casing around it is just too big to allow you to put it into that socket. Now also the position of that micro SD slot is in the wrong position. When you try to eject that little card, it sometimes just shoots out and lands in the compartment. Again, you could only use this on a desktop situation. Apart from that, I think the design of it is quite nice, and the sound output certainly gives you an increase in volume over the typical 2.5 or 3.5 watts you get with standard laptops or television, so it will enhance the output power of your television. I do question the amount of bass response from this unit from these two small speakers, and I guess it's not going to be 100 watts music power. I haven't got meters to validate it, but I guess it's probably something in the region of 25 to 30 watts in total power output, so not as high as you would expect. It is quite loud, but it does tend to distort if you got it in the higher volume settings, and the higher volume settings will be indicated by the LED, which is flashing red when you hit maximum volume. There's no other way of knowing what volume you're at. There's no physical level meter on here to tell you what your volume level setting is. So once you set it, it's probably adequate, and you control the input volume from your input device if you're using your phone or other audio device, or from your TV remote. Now, the tactile feel of this infrared remote controller isn't very good. Sometimes, even when you're in line of sight of the infrared receiver, pressing these buttons, nothing happens, and that's because you've not fully depressed the button to make contact with the circuitry underneath to change channel or change volume. So the device is not very good. It's better if you've got the HDMI-C ARC audio return channel. You can use your television remote to change the settings, so that would be preferable than using this device. So that was my review of the Diplay 2.0 channel soundbar. Ideally suited to these small flat screen TVs with very small speakers, or laptops with very small speakers. It will improve the audio performance of those devices. Doesn't have enough bass to warrant you using this in larger TV setups where you want more bass, especially if you're watching movies and want the full immersive experience that these new TV presets can provide. You need a much larger soundbars with either 5.1 or 7.1 surround sound systems to get the true benefit of those larger format TVs. So thanks very much for watching. Please do take care, and of course I'll put links to the supply of this unit from the Amazon websites in the video description below. So until the next video, thanks very much for watching. Please do take care, and I hope to see you all very soon. Goodbye for now.